Warning. This podcast contains explicit sexual language and should only be listened to at work if you're looking for an excuse to connect with your HR representative. Additionally, all mentions of the word women include cis and trans women. If you are genderqueer, gender fluid, figuring it out, anything in between, and feel like this conversation is also important for you, you are welcome here.
Will you open up with me? These pages, they can feed your innermost desires. Do you feel inspired? Are you getting what you need? Are you coming curiously? A secret safe with me. And here you can simply be yourself. Sweet romance. Come on in, come on in, come on.
Hi everyone, this is producer Michael. I just wanted to let you know that this episode has some sound issues. We just had some issues with Jace's mic on the recording, but no worries, it is still clear, you can still hear her, and this is a great episode, so enjoy!
Hi, y'all. This is Jace, she, they, and you found Jace Reads Romance, a community dedicated to empowering women about sex and sexuality through the reading of romance novels. And I read them and I judge them. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I always do my best to make Sephie laugh with the first thing that I say. And there's rating systems, unless it's a quantifiable thing that you're measuring, that you're rating, everything is subjective. And reading and rating books is no exception to the rule.
Yeah.
There are people who try, especially with steam or spice in a book, to quantify or create systems that are less subjective. But ultimately, how you rate something is based on how it makes you feel, which is a completely subjective thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's really the only good word for it. Thing.
Yeah, it's thing. There's no real better word for it.
Mm-hmm.
And with subjectiveness being so varied, why do I still rate books? That's a really good question. If I know my opinion, thank you. Why do we rate things? And why do I express those ratings to you all? And I do on many different platforms.
True. Very, very true.
Very hard to share my subjective ratings in various ways and formats on the many different platforms in which I inhabit. So here you get a monthly reading wrap up. On Instagram, you get a little bit of a rating system, infograph with my Goodreads review in the caption, or as much of it as I can put there. On TikTok, you get very little because TikTok, I can't figure out if it's worth my time going away or whatever. We're still figuring that out. And then I go into very big detail on YouTube where I, in fact, read my notes. I share my favorite quotes and so on. So those videos are, and I'm editing a video right now, and it was an hour and a half of recording for 5 books.
Oh my God.
I'm on book number 3 or 4, and we're already 40 minutes in. I'm like, wow, I had a lot to say about these books. So if you like it when I ramble about books, like some of our earlier wrap-up episodes, YouTube is probably going to be the place to go for my opinions. But here in this space, I just wanted to talk about why I think sharing my subjective feelings about books is still valid, and I still do it.
Mm-hmm.
Are we good? Are we ready?
Yes.
Is it going to be fun? All right. Number 1, it's fucking fun. Fun. That's the number 1 reason.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, if it wasn't fun to share my opinions about books and want to talk to you all about the books that I've read and what was great and what was, I'm still never going to forget. I think it wasn't When Grumpy Witch Sunshine. It was her second book, Charlotte Stein's book. And I hated everything until the spice. And then I went feral. And quite honestly, I could have been ovulating. Who knows? But it was so funny to go through my notes and talk about it and say, like, I hated it, I hated it, I hated it, I hated it. And then suddenly I was a puddle. Like, that's nonsensical.
Yeah.
Absolutely nonsensical.
Yeah.
And then it happens the other way, where you have a book that you love and you love and you love, and then the author chooses to do something with those characters and you want to chuck it across the room, and it affects like everything. Even if it was 90% of the book that you loved, and that last 10% can ruin it. Yeah. So I love that, because I think the experience of reading is subjective and it's fun, and I love books and I love sharing my feelings.
Well, not only that, it gives it like the book club feeling. Like you want to share that with fellow readers and just share that joy or that hatred that you have over this story or this moment in the story that you experience together reading this book, whether you did it actually in a book club together reading it at the same time, or if you just read the book separately, miles apart, but you both had similar experiences or non-similar experiences. It's just it's a joining, and I think that's what's so great about it.
I think it's so great. I think it's so fun. And as an avid reader, I take recommendations, and I base the recommendations that I take seriously on, did we agree or disagree on other books? So if you're looking to diversify your reading, let's say you're looking to diversify your reading in some way, shape, or form, and it aligns with the way that I read, you're probably going to double check that we have the same book taste by looking through my history and seeing what books we've read together, not together, but we've both read. And did we have similar feelings about them?
Yeah.
Because if we don't, anything that I recommend you're going to maybe not like as much. We might not align on what makes something an enjoyable read. But if we do align, you can take more seriously my recommendations and maybe use me as a reference point for that goal of your bookish reading, diversifying in some way, shape, or form. And that's really helpful.
Yeah. For example, if you're looking for like good vampire book recommendations, go for Jace. I would say Jace would have a lot of knowledge on that particular subject.
I love vampires.
Yes,
so
you do.
It's funny because this month I've been really aiming to read a lot more paranormal because I haven't. I've been reading a lot of contemporary, and contemporary is fine, but like my love, my deep, like love at the core of my being is a vampire. Yes. And I don't have that many that I haven't read. Like, gotta put that little caveat in there. I was looking through my list, and I'm like, my TBR, I'm like, I don't see there's so few vampires on my TBR because I've read most of them. So as always, if you have vampire recommendations, please send them to me because I love a vampire.
Yes, you do.
It's like really unhealthy, but I don't care. So that's kind of like the reason why it's fun. Reason two, it helps you build that sense of community and take recommendations seriously for books that you haven't read. If you know that you align a lot with someone's other reviews of books that you've both read. And number 3, it also does the opposite.
Yes.
I like, if you signed up you started following someone on social media, and it's because they were, talking about a book, or maybe a video of theirs went viral, and you're starting to notice that you don't align on certain books. Mm-hmm. And there's a book that I know I'm probably in the minority of, and even one of my good book friends, it's the only book by this author that we have read, and she loved it and I hated it. And whenever I see it on a list, I don't trust the rest of the video. But if you it's just this one book. It's just one book. But if you consistently find that you are vehemently disagreeing with someone in their subjective opinion, then you know what, either I'm going to keep following this person to know what books to stay away from, which is so valid.
So valid. And actually really, really smart, to be completely honest, as a reader, because you're not going to want to go to a bookstore and or a library or whatever and find a book and be like, oh yeah, this person talked about it, maybe I should check it out. But you don't you don't follow them you haven't followed them for a long amount of time, and you don't know where your stances line up. And then you get into it and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Mm-mm. So there's someone there are actually 2 books that they've raved about that I have hated vehemently. And I no longer listen to their recommendations wholeheartedly. Take it with a bit of a grain of salt. You're like,
that's okay.
Yeah.
And their taste is not my taste. Exactly. But it also means that books that they were kind of iffy about, you might go, all right, that's a book that I might want to investigate.
Yes.
Because they didn't like it. And the books that I like, they don't like. So those are all such valid reasons.
Very much so.
Keep following someone. If you're like, oh, they love this book, no, I got to stay away from it. Or if you are someone who doesn't want open door spice, you might follow me still, even though I read primarily open door spice, because not every book has it that I read, or maybe you just like a little bit, and you can still find that in my ratings.
Yes.
So okay, Jace said, and I'll get into what my ratings are and what they typically mean, because maybe you missed that Instagram post. That might be a post I repost every couple months, because I think
might not be a bad idea.
Totally might not be a bad idea. But so that oh goodness, that looked so cute. The cover made it look so cute.
Yeah.
But Jace gave it a 3.5 spice.
Yes.
I'm gonna step away from that book.
Yeah.
I know that book will not be for me.
Yeah.
Or this book looked really dark and twisty and like it was going to be super sexual, but Jace has a green pepper there. Mm-hmm. So those are absolutely, reasons to keep following someone if your book tastes don't align.
Yeah. Yeah. There is, and I'm sure you'll get into this a little bit as well. Your ratings for spice are different necessarily for someone else's ratings for spice as well. However,
which is part of the reason why in the podcast world, especially because in our wrap-ups, I give you a spice rating. Yes. I do want to go over what my rating system is. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that later. Now, and the last reason that I'm going to talk about before I go into my rating system is that subjective feelings are valid. Feelings are valid. And absolutely. You can also have different feelings about different books depending on when you read them. And I love giving the example of Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I started it years ago, DNF'd it. It was not for me at the time. Mm-hmm. And then I was encouraged to tried it again, and I really liked it. Is it my favorite book ever? No. But was it how I remembered it from that time I DNF'd it? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And so feelings change and feelings are valid. Whatever's going on in your life and whatever's going on in the reader's life, it's okay to share feelings. Asterisks with the understanding that feelings are subjective and not everyone's going to feel the same way you do. So as someone sharing my subjective feelings on the internet, and if you are someone who shares their subjective feelings on the internet, what you aren't allowed to do, or what it's really not okay to do, is be butthurt when someone disagrees with you.
Yes. Yes.
Like, am I mad because my friend likes this book that I thought was horrendous? No. We also then respect each other enough not to get into an argument about it. She liked it. I didn't. Totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
No worries.
Yes.
I still respect her. I still take recommendations from her in other areas. This just happens to be a book that for me was a hell no, and for her was an absolute yes.
Yeah.
And so subjective feelings are valid for the person who's having them. And you don't necessarily get to judge someone's or be mean about someone's subjective feelings.
No, because it's their feelings. They are reacting to something they experienced. It is wholly them. You don't get to say and dictate how they react to something. Now, if their reaction causes hurt onto someone else, like if it physically harms someone else, that's a different
like
story.
when someone says, oh, I didn't like this book because I don't like Sapphic. Nope, not a valid feeling.
No.
Not a valid feeling. You might not like Sapphic, and you need to do some soul searching about why. But also, if you don't like Sapphic,
and that's the only reason you didn't like the book,
like, and this is why, like, I will still read tropes that I don't always like friends to lovers. I don't always like, but there are specific reasons why, and I don't like them. And there are examples of me loving them.
Exactly.
So, which is why I keep reading that trope.
Yeah.
Accidental pregnancy, I don't always love. Have there been books that I've loved anyway? Yes. Do I sometimes wish they handled it differently? Yeah, I do. But that's my subjective feeling about a trope. And I don't hate on the book because they had the trope. Unless, like, the only one that I judge, and this is, like, my own thing, is I judge Fade to Black with... I don't love Fade to Black in general. You are allowed to. If you don't want to, that's fine. But I really dislike Fade to Black where you don't even hear what happened. I don't trust it if it's a Fade to Black and then the next day, oh my God, I had 7 orgasms. Really? But Fade to Black where we don't know what happened makes me feel like you shouldn't even have written about sex if you aren't okay talking about it. If these are 2 adults who are capable of having sex and potentially had sex, as an adult, you should be able to talk about it. Like, and that's my feeling.
Yeah.
Like, and this is because that's my rule in life. If you are not comfortable talking about sex, you should not be having it. If you're not comfortable talking about it with friends, if you can't talk about it with your partner, you should not be having sex if you cannot communicate about sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing that I will typically judge a book on because it's something that really bugs me. And quite honestly, you don't know until you read the fucking book. Okay. Yeah. So getting into what I rate, I have 2 rating systems. And if you follow on Instagram or you follow on Goodreads, you'll see that I'll give stars and I'll give spice. And both of them are 1 to 5. Stars or chili peppers, whatever you are, because I'm a millennial and I use emojis literally. I saw a video where a Gen Zer was saying that they don't use emojis literally.
Why? Why don't you use them literally? How are we supposed to convey meaning?
Thank you. How? This is the thing. How do you convey meaning if a peach is no longer a butt? What does it represent?
What is it?
Like that's as unliteral as I get. Like an eggplant is a phallus and a peach is a butt, and water is
yes.
Orgasm or ejaculation or sploosh or whatever. But that's as unliteral as I get. If you're not using them literally, what definition are you using?
Exactly. How do I tell you the mood I am expressing without emojis?
That's my,
that's our soapbox for the moment. Okay.
That's soapbox. That's soapbox for the moment. Okay. All right. We're done. Keep that in the extended. We don't need that in the real thing. So I typically go from 1 to 5, and I'm going to, for the stars, start with 5 and go down. Just because I think that that's an easier way to talk about them. Mm-hmm. So and these are my overall feelings, the vibes about the book. Did I enjoy it? Mm-hmm. And this is probably the most subjective thing on there. But 5 stars for me means I would not change a single thing about this book, and everything in the book I enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is, I would agree with that completely, because I think that's how I would rate a 5-star book as well. For me, in my subjective experience, like it's perfect in its exactability. Like I think I just made up that word, but where did it who cares? It's perfect in the way that it is and how it was created, and nothing needs to differ.
And the reason I personally trust my own 5-star reads is because I will rate things as 5 stars that are vastly different.
Yes.
So a couple 5-star reads just from last month, I had 2 5-star reads.
Yeah.
It Had to Be Him by Adib Khorram,
mm-hmm.
Contemporary, Second Chance, On Vacation, like slowish burn.
Yeah.
Super sweet queer romance.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had All Superheroes Need Photo Ops, which was 5 stars. I wouldn't change a thing.
I know,
and also made me feel so many more things that I would put it as 6 stars if I can. Like 5, I would not change Adib's book at all. I loved it so much. But All Superheroes Need Photo Ops, I was sweating. I was screaming. My God. But that is a
so
monster, morally gray, so kinky,
it's so different.
And violent. Like, it's so vastly different.
Yeah.
And so, like, what makes something a 5-star read for me is how the book itself does. It's not like my only 5 stars are contemporary or paranormal or dark or anything like that. I think like I gave Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. It was like really close to a 5-star. I don't remember. I read it a really long time ago, but that is a dark romance. I loved that book. It was great. Yeah. So 5 stars and then 4. And I quite honestly, I will 0.5, 0.25, 5 and 7.5. 7.5 is really, really close, but there was just something missing from that 5-star.
Just it wasn't one. You like just had that one thing in the back of your brain. You like, it just needed something.
Yeah.
What was it?
It needed something. I wish that line didn't happen. The pacing got weird, or it just didn't give me that like super warm, fuzzy feeling that you feel when you've read a 5-star read. Oh, Legendborn, Tracy Dion, another 5-star read for me. YA paranormal, like a YA book. I gave 5 stars.
Yeah.
So vastly different. 4 is like I enjoyed this book and I would reread it. That's my thing for me. I would reread this book is a 4-star. Mm-hmm. I typically love rereading books. I don't get to do it very often anymore because I really strive to read diversely and vary the books that I have. And so now I'm only rereading if I'm catching up on a series, which is fine. But a 4-star and above means this is a book that I would reread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that too. Because it almost becomes like a comfort feeling.
Yes.
I think those 2 levels, the 4 and 5, it gives you a comfort when you read those books. So yeah.
Yeah. Now 3 is, this is not a bad book, but it wasn't for me. I would not reread this. Mm-hmm. Like, if given the choice, wouldn't do it again. Now, again, to repeat, not a bad book. It's not problematic. It's not poorly written, but something about it just, when I finished it, made me go, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. I took that journey and I'm glad I'm done now.
No, this is where like a 375 is where that trope that I find problematic. I'm still so mad about The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. I'm still mad about it because I loved that book until The Fade to Black. And now I would never reread it knowing it. But that's where a trope like that, or a really immature miscommunication, will take it for me from a 4 to a 3.5. And that's part of the reason why I keep good books in the 3s. 3s, if you love a miscommunication, if you love a Fade to Black, if you love Friends to Lovers or Second Chance, those are ones that I get picky on, and I'm very open about my pickiness when it comes to those tropes. Yeah. Because let's explain Second Chance. I find for Second Chance, either it was a dumb reason why you broke up, and that makes me judge you as a potential partner. Like, why, if you were easily swayed enough to break up with them, then why? Yeah. And for me, it feels like persuasion. Like, that's a dumb reason. You should have given him a chance to go with you. But, or they did something really terrible. Like, something really terrible happened. Yeah. And I don't think they are deserving of a second chance.
And, it never seems to be in the middle. It's like
there are some in the middle.
I haven't read one, so I'm going to take your word on that and get some recommendations from you, because I haven't read a Second Chance romance where that has been the case, where it's been in the middle between those 2 extremes. So
I find that it's a high school or college to real life. That transition is really hard. Those big life transitions where you're not sure what you're doing, or you're faced with distance or immaturity. Okay, as long as nothing dramatic happens, I find that a breakup because of those big life shifts, where then you are given the chance to grow and mature and figure out what you want from life and become the better adult version of yourself. Those I don't mind. Those are fine for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
I totally understand. So let's go to, what is it called? Wild and Wrangled, the Lila Sage book. They were a second chance. And they broke up now this is an example of the reason you broke up was fine, but the way you broke up was wrong. The reason you broke up is she wanted to stay there, and she loved that community in small town and putting her roots down. And he wanted to travel the world. That is a totally valid reason not to stay together.
Yeah.
Totally valid.
Yeah.
What you don't do is sneak out in the middle of the night with a Dear John note.
I was this is the one where he snuck out. I was like, you talking about this?
She snuck out. Yeah. She just left him. That was a dumb thing you did, but the reason is valid.
Yeah.
And if and eventually when he was ready to settle down and came back to whatever the town's name is, and then they got back together, which, again, it wasn't my favorite book, but that's an example of why someone might break up that I would give them a second chance for. Anywho's, so that's where the 3s are. Now, an actual 3 is, this book is fine, but maybe it can combine a lot of those things that I dislike, and especially tropes that I feel can be written well, but maybe were written with less care or explanation, or I just felt weren't used to the best of their abilities.
Yeah.
2, now we're going down. If I rate something less than a 3, there are, as I feel, problems with the book. I will make some allowances for books written pre-2000 because the way we spoke about certain things wasn't okay.
No, not by a long shot.
It wasn't okay. But it wasn't deemed problematic. It wasn't called out. It was the way we spoke about things. Now, would it fly now? Absolutely not. Oh, no. But but there are problems with the book. There are, there's, biphobia without it as a trigger warning or plot device. It's like just biphobia on page, not acknowledged as that's wrong. Or racism, or blatantly incorrect sex, or outside of a dark romance, very icky power dynamics.
Yeah.
Like, I find the book problematic. And it's not just like, oh, I didn't like it. There are things in this book that I don't want.
Real problems.
There are real problems.
Yeah.
And it also is like, if the book is written terribly, I will also say, if the book is written terribly, I will make it a 2 because you're like, I don't understand, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Plot holes the size of
plot holes the size of things, badly constructed sentences, over repetition of specific, there are things that make it a badly written book. Is where you'll get 2. Now, 1 star, I'm trying to think if I've ever given something a 1 star, but 1 is it's poorly written. There's bad tropes, either tropes done badly or things that are very clearly not okay without trigger warnings or without context, just not good. And I know that there are people on the interwebs who only rate books they like. So their 1 will be, I like this, and then 5. And so they get a lot more nuance within their 5 stars. Because I read so much and I do sometimes torture myself and finish books that I really shouldn't. I have to have 1 be terrible book, please don't read this at all, and 5. So it means those 0.25s and
that's where you get
0.25 increments.
Yeah.
You get some really good, that's where the nuance is. It's between the whole numbers. And I hope that explains it. Now, that's the way that I view them. So when you see a 3.75, know that that's not a bad book. It just, a book was not for me. And if you see a 4.75, you know that it was almost perfect. To me. To me.
Jakes.
Do you have examples of books that are your 5 stars or 3 stars or things of that nature? Because I know I'm the one who talks about all the books that I've read, but what's an example of a 5 star for you? Is it Lover Awakened?
I have 2 5-star books that come to mind right now. Anne of Green Gables. It has been, I know I've talked about it before, but it is
and I've never read it.
It is my comfort book. I have read it so many times, and I've talked about it before, so I'm not going to talk about it a lot.
Yes.
But the other one is actually the first 2 series of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Gordon.
Never read.
They are very spectacular for young adult novels based on Greek and Roman mythology, because the second series talks about combines Roman mythology into it. But
I love it.
They're comfort books for me. So they're that 5-star. I can reread them over and over and over again.
I love it.
The 5-star book that I'm actually reading right now, that is not young adult. It is not anything. It's called, it's sci-fi, I think, more than anything. Sci-fi fantasy romance-ish. It's called Queen of the Tearling. It's by Erica Johansson. And it is, it's a fantasy trilogy set in a fictional future about Kelsey Raleigh, who has spent her life in hiding, and on her 19th birthday, she claims her rightful place as Queen of the Tearling and fights to restore the kingdom's glory and combat injustice, is the little blurb on Google.
All right, then.
It is so good, and the world building that Erica has created is fantastic. And the magic building and the history that she's created in the story makes it a captivating world, and I love it.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, want to talk about some spice?
Always.
So I'm going to go the opposite way for spice. I'm going to start at 1, and then I'm going to go to 5. And for me, there is a below 1. There is a 0. And 0 for me means no on-page spice. And that could mean either no one is having sex, or no one is having sex on page. Or the sex that they're describing is like, and the moment their bodies met, their souls became one, and it was forever beautiful. Like, technically they had sex and it was on page, but no, they didn't. It was not explicit.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It was the fluttering curtains.
Yeah. You're like, nope, that's opaque. Like, I know that they're behind the curtain. It hasn't faded to black, but a blackout curtain went in front of us.
Yes.
And I will typically, if you're looking at infographics or on Goodreads, I will put a green pepper. Like, I will put a bell pepper if I'm using emojis, or I will turn the chili pepper green if it's an Instagram post, which people find very amusing, and I love your
chili peppers. I love your chili peppers.
So that's 0 because it does exist, and I do read them.
Yeah,
from time to time, sometimes with full knowledge, and sometimes it's accidental.
And then I get to hear all about it in the wrap up.
I get so mad. Sometimes.
Or I get a text message when it happens before the wrap up.
Usually it's just this book went no spice or faded black. I have no idea what book I'm talking about, but I do. Or I keep it to my book group chat. It's oh my gosh, and they know. I'm like, this faded to black. I'm like, oh, we're so sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but then there's one chili pepper, and I will say there is probably the most variation in the over 1 and below 3. Like, this is where the most variation will happen, and also where most books live. So know that the most subjective is going to be at this level because there's just so much more of it out there.
Yeah.
Now, 1 chili pepper means there is on-page spice. And for me, it typically means 1 explicit scene.
Yeah.
I have written like 0.5s before, and it's usually like, you're like, I think that metaphor meant a penis inserted itself into a vagina, but I am not quite sure because it was a metaphor. Oh, there's another metaphor. Like, when he cupped her, she felt the exquisite pleasure move through her whole body. His hands were so, like, you're like, okay, but where did he touch? Like, you're not sure exactly what it is, but it's definitely sex, but like, it's very metaphorical.
Yeah, right.
So I've done that. People are having sex on page, but like you're not quite sure like the moment that's happening.
Yeah.
That's okay. So I will sometimes do like a 0.75 if it goes on for a while, but it's very metaphorical because it's not really a chili pepper, but it's also not fade to black. So, exactly. But a 1 means explicit spice happens on page, and it is usually lightly described, maybe 3 pages at most.
Okay.
That's it. Like that's the 1. Now, 2 for me is typically when there's like 2 well-described sex scenes. So maybe like 5 pages each, or like a really well-described one and 2 lesser ones. Mm-hmm. But in the middle between 1 and 2, you can have a lot. You can have like people referencing sex. You can have like 2 really lightly described scenes. You can have only 1 really well-described scene. Like,
right.
And that's where like this is all subjective, because spice is, how does it make me feel? Like, how titillated am I by the spice?
Yeah.
And this is where some people will like give more points to kink than vanilla, but I don't necessarily like to, because if you're not into kink, the most descriptive kink description might do less for you than a fairly averagely described vanilla scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I try not to weigh kink more heavily than vanilla. Typically, I find, though, that if kink is involved, it's a little more explicit and well-described and detailed.
Yeah.
That's the reason why a book with kink might be higher in spice for me than a book without kink, because more description and explicitness goes into that. Now, when we get to that 2, it means that they are regularly having sex. And I try to also have it be a percentage. So if we've got a 300-page book and there are 2 spicy scenes, well-described spicy scenes.
Yeah.
And that's the average. Like a romance novel is usually between 300 and 350 pages. I will rate a 500-page book with 2 well-described spicy scenes as maybe a 1.5. Because percentage-wise for the story, the spice isn't as important. It's not as spicy a book overall.
Yeah.
And it's why something like Icebreaker, a 450-page book with like 8 spicy scenes, and Collide, a 300-page book with like 5 spicy scenes, are rated the same, because percentage-wise, they have the same amount of spice.
Yeah, I was going to say it's similar. Yeah.
Like Phantasma was a 500-page book, and we didn't get spice until page 200. Wasn't technically a slow burn, because for me, that's halfway. It has to be like halfway or more through the book for it to be a slow burn. Yeah. But it can't be terribly spicy, because there were like 3 or 4 spicy scenes in 500 pages. That's 1 spicy scene per 100 pages. That is not
super spicy.
Terribly. That's like 2. That's a 2, maybe a 2.25 for me.
Yeah.
But like, you know, because if 1 is 1 spicy scene in 300 pages, like it just, and again, it's subjective. Like, how did it make me feel? Did it make my other regions tingle in a pleasant manner?
It just sounds so Victorian when you say it like that, and it just makes me giggle.
Yeah, that's why I say it like that. And it also, like, there are things that people like in their spice and people don't. Like, if you describe the word moist, I don't mind the word moist. I know you hate it. Or cock.
It's not my favorite.
Things that will always make me go, pause, erase. I'm going to forget about that. It's like, because every single time I read it, I cringe a little. It's, oh, she couldn't get her hand around it. And the first thought in my brain is always baby hands. Like, it's just like baby hands. And it's really funny because in It Had to Be Him by Adib Khorram. Yes, we're going to talk about it more. Noah, one of the MMCs, his dick in high school got nicknamed Noah's Ark. He is hung. And in the book, Adib describes it as Ramin couldn't get his hand around it. And I'm like, that is a grown man hand. Can't get around this penis? Oh my God. But I was also very surprised that a male romance author would put that in there. But you know what? I'm sure dudes like a big dick too. Like,
I mean, we should ask.
I should have asked. I saw him the other week, and I'll see him at Steamy Lit.
Yeah.
But I might ask, like, why did you put that trope in there when so
Maybe
many men are angry about it? Okay, but so that's like 2, and anything from like 1 to before 3 is a plot heavy book that has spice.
Right.
Now, when we get to 3, this is where the plot and the spice are more equally balanced. This is where, like, they fuck in every chapter or every other chapter. Like, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes the plot is interrupted by spice, or, you know, like there's a pause, we need to fuck it out, and then the spice happens. This is not what I would call a Kennedy Ryan style unskippable sex scene in terms of the plot or character development. This is, there's a lot of spice. And I'm trying to think, like, High Stakes by Nana Malone was really spicy. They weren't enhancing the plot or even necessarily building a deeper relationship every time they fucked. They just fucked. It was good spice. It was good fucking.
Yeah.
And where we get into it, when it goes to 4, like and not a lot of books are like that. Like, you don't get a ton of books that are just equal parts fucking and plot. And I remember listening to Kat Singleton talk about Black Ties and White Lies. It's almost a slow burn, and then they fuck for like 5 chapters. Like it's not equal points fucking and that. Or My Best Friend's Honeymoon, where like that middle chunk of the book is just them fucking.
Yeah.
Like, but it doesn't make the book equally balanced between fucking and plot. You know?
Yeah.
So then, for me, like, you can have a bit of nuance between a 3 and a 4. Like, ooh, we're getting, like, some of the spice. Because 4 is when the plot is about the spice.
Yeah.
And I think I rated Kiss of the Basilisk / Split or Swallow, depending on when you bought the book, if it was indie or trad, as a 4. Because the plot of that book was she has to learn how to fuck from the basilisk so she can fuck the prince. Like, that's the plot.
That's the plot, yeah.
That's the plot.
Yeah.
And so, like, it technically moves the plot along.
Yeah.
Because that's the plot.
Yeah.
because that's the plot. Like, that's it. Like, that's the reason.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
If that is your plot, that is your plot. There's nothing wrong with any spice level. Like, these are not my opinions on whether or not the spice was good or bad. This is just my opinions on how spicy the book was.
Exactly.
I don't know if I said that either. And then a 5 is what plot? And that's, like, an example that I always give is the naughty list. Like, the plot of that, like, the overall story is she becomes a sex worker in order to get money to visit her parents.
Oh,
but the actual book is each encounter with a different, not John, because sometimes they're women and sometimes there are lots of, like, a different client. and it doesn't push the plot along except for the fact that like she makes money, but like that's not the plot
to get to her end goal, which is to go see her parents.
Yeah, like none of these really like enhance the plot at all. It's just spice. I need to read the rest of these. Like there are, I think, 2 more in the series.
Yes. Yeah.
And also, there's nothing wrong with a book that is just spice. And this is where you might get closer to erotica versus romance.
Yeah.
Because erotica is for the spice. Mm-hmm. I will say the Naughty List is still a romance because she does meet someone and enter a romantic relationship with
them. Okay. Interesting.
It's not a client. It's not
that makes things even more interesting.
It's not a client. It's a fellow sex worker. Yes. So I think the second book is about the 2 of them.
Yes. I love that so much.
So when it comes to subjectiveness in spice, I really try to have it be about how much of the book is spice. And I don't specifically do word counts, partially because I also do physical books and I'm not counting the fucking words. But how much of that book did I feel was spice, was explicit sexual stuff. Mm-hmm. And I also try in my ratings not to be as subjective about what do I personally find titillating versus not, you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's say that this contained, I love it, and I love it when it's described this way, when a woman is feasted upon. I love a feast. Mm-hmm. Like, anytime cunnilingus is described with, like, food metaphor, I melt, I swoon, but I don't judge that scene as more spicy than something else.
Right.
Just because it has that.
It uses a phrase or a terminology that you enjoy. Yeah.
Or what was it? Pucking Wild had a 15-page sex scene.
Yes.
Was it spicier than, I mean, like, that's, so well done. But that is also like a 600-page book.
Yes.
So even though just one of the scenes was 15 pages, the percentage of the book that was spice is not that much. Mm-hmm. Do I like a scene that's 15 pages more than one that's 3? Typically, yes. I like that. I want explicit. I want to be there. I want to have, and I also find that when scenes are that detailed, they're only that detailed because something is happening on an emotional level between the characters.
Yes.
Unless it's something like the Naughty List, like you can't really have that much sex without an emotional connection. Yeah. The Naughty List is like all kinks and
it's different because it's
different.
It's a business transaction.
Y'all, that book was crazy. But even in Split or Swallow, the intimacy that she was having with the 2 characters built her emotional connection to the 2 characters.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. It was a romance between these people. And so I try not to judge the spice level on my personal preferences. Mm-hmm. I try to judge based on like how much of the book is dedicated to spice. And it is completely subjective because there are moments when a book that is slow, like what was it? The Spare by Ava Ronnie. It was a slow burn and then they fucked like every other chapter for like 8 chapters in a row. So I'm like, wow, there were like 4 scenes and they got less and less well described, but like they're fucking a lot once they got together, but that didn't happen until halfway through the book.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's subjective. I try to have it not be. Or you have a book like Olivia Dade's book. I will find it in my list. Shipwrecked. That starts with a sex scene.
Yes.
And then there's nothing until like the last quarter of the book.
That's right. That's right.
Like, jeez. Like, the first sentence is something about an orgasm, and you're like, yes, spice. What?
Where did it
felt
go?
Like a slow burn. And where did it go? It felt like a slow burn romance, even though they'd already had sex. It was really well done. But so those are how I rate the spice. So if you are listening to the wrap-ups or watching on the YouTube for the podcast or all of the things, that is how I rate spice in a book. I also try to explain in my, like, if it was realistic sex or not. Like, if you're not quite sure what I mean, go listen to the Clits Are Important 2 episode. I think realistic sex, especially in a contemporary setting, in a realistic setting, outside of dark romance, outside of monster shit, like,
yeah.
If two humans are having sex with one another, I want it to be realistic sex for two humans to have with one another.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I suspend my disbelief less for regular sex. And I don't mean vanilla sex. I mean like human to human sex. Whether it's whatever genitals are involved. I want the sex to be anatomically accurate. I want it to be female centered, unless it's an romance, and then just like I want cum everywhere. If it's an romance, I want to hear about so much cum all over the place.
All the cum
and lube, all the cum and all the lube.
I fucking use lube, people.
Lube always. And those kinds, right? Those kinds of things. So my personal feelings about whether or not the sex was good doesn't necessarily play into the spice rating, but it will go into the whether or not I like the book. If I find the sex to be unrealistic, she came 7 times by you blowing on her clit. No, sorry, it's not.
No,
that's gonna bump you down to the 3 level because I don't need to read about that shit. Like, that's it. Those are the things that I subjectively rate in books. I hope that this gives you a little bit more insight into how I rate books in general, and also whether or not you can take my ratings seriously for you, either as books to move towards or books to step away from. And I do want to talk about how I handle more objective opinions in a future episode. But I think because subjective feelings are out there, and I am a person on the internet willing to put them out there, I wanted to give you just a little bit more insight into how I rate these things and why I might give something a rating as this versus that. Did that also help you, Sephie, understand?
It did. It did, actually, because I see your posts on Instagram. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like so now I have a little bit more understanding about your rating system, and I think it'll help me understand the wrap-ups too when we do them now.
Yes. Yeah.
So
a little bit more.
Yes.
Good. Then, hey, at least one person got something out of this.
Yes.
My work is done. Until next time, keep reading, keep judging, and let me know what books we agree on or disagree on, what spice we agree on or disagree on, and know that whatever you judge, that's your right. As long as you're not mean to me about how I judge these things, that's fine.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Jace Reads Romance is a 3 Paws Productions podcast. Produced by Sephie, edited by Michael Achenbach. Our theme song is written and performed by Diana Weishauer. For show notes and more, head to www.jacereadsromance.com. That's JAYCE Reads Romance. Follow us on socials at Jace Reads Romance everywhere. For more exclusive content, visit us on Substack, where you'll find extended episodes, bonus episodes, and more. Have a question, story, or book recommendation you know I'll love? Email Jace at jacereadsromance.com or call and leave a voicemail at 661-JACE-RR. That's 661-529-2377. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. And as always, this is Jace, holding space for you.